Hey guys, my name is Jesse and I'm one of the leaders here at the Freedom Project, and we are looking for highly ambitious people who want to exit the rat race. Are you a perfect fit? What even is a perfect fit? Well, keep watching because I'll be sharing here in the next few minutes exactly what you can do to make a full time residual income or a supplemental income using only your phone and a Wi Fi connection. The first things first, what really is the rat race? Before we go any further, let's lay some groundwork. Let's have a serious talk. We are only looking for hungry people who are coachable and willing to do whatever it takes to obtain their financial freedom or reach their financial goals. As long as it's legal, moral, and ethical, hungry people who are coachable are willing to do whatever it takes. If that's you, welcome and keep watching. If that's not you, no harm, no foul. Feel free to stop this video right now. But for those of you that are still here, let's continue. Let's talk about a few different ways of making money. You can be employed, self-employed, a B-type business owner, or an investor. Now, we never learned any of this in school because the method there was to hop on the conveyor belt and go through their system, which was a cookie cutter, one-size-fits-all approach to basically just pound a square peg into a round hole and then get you to the point where you can take tests that are designed to match you with the appropriate job so that then you can go do whatever you're good at. For example, they would say things like, well, if you're good at math, then that's what you should do. And then you'll learn how to do that thing better. And then based on how well you learn how to do that thing, you'll get a job. And then your job defines your lifestyle. And this is why 95% of people choose to be either employed or self-employed, which basically just means that they are stuck trading time for money. Now, it's not your teacher's fault. It's definitely not your fault either, but it is the fault of a massively broken system because somewhere in our country's history, we decided to stop asking how successful someone wants to be and start asking, what do you want to be? Meaning, what job do you want to have? So, what are the results of this path? Well, let's take a look at the facts. If a person spends 40 hours working every single week and they do that 50 weeks a year, assuming they have 2 weeks paid vacation, that results in someone working 100,000 hours over the course of their lifetime. If they work from 18 to 68, and we all know people who are working well past 68 with what's going on in the economy currently. This does not include commute time, lunch breaks, anything else to do with your job. It's just if you work a flat 40 hours a week. And what do people get for this 100,000 hours of their life in return? Well, 95% of people live what's called the 45-year plan, which, by the way, has been completely unchanged since World War II. Now, the incomes might have changed a little bit, but people start getting steady raises up until the age of about 35 from when they start working. And then from 35 on until the age of retirement, they basically flatline. Do they still get raises? Yes. Cost of living raises 2, 3, 4, 5%, maybe 10%, but it's not even keeping up with the cost of inflation for most people. Then they go into retirement, losing a half to two-thirds of their income, which then turns into rehirement because of things like this. Inflation just since COVID is up 23.6% on groceries alone, not factoring in anything else. So how are people supposed to retire at the age of 65 or 68 and lose half to two-thirds of their income and still make it? This is why people are going back to jobs like never before, and this is where the term rehirement has come from. Now, what does this all mean? It means that the average person is working just as hard as ever, but their dollar is not going as far while their expenses are going up and up and up. So how do you solve this problem? Well, if you want something different, then you have to do something different because the problem that created the issue cannot create the solutions. So working more is not the answer. Going from 40 hours a week to 50 hours a week to 60 hours a week to 70 hours a week is basically like running faster on a treadmill that's getting you nowhere. You can run faster and it might feel like you're doing more, but really you're not getting any further ahead. So what are we doing differently here at the Freedom Project? Well, let's go back to these 4 different ways of making money. 95% of people are either employees or self-employed, which means they are stuck trading hours for dollars. Now, there's nothing wrong with this if this is what someone wants to do, but it is limited and unscalable. And here's why. You only have so many hours that you can trade per day, and you can only charge so much for those hours, no matter what you do, whether you're employed, self-employed, in sales, creating a product, anything else, you can only sell so much in one day, and you can only work so many hours before you absolutely have to stop because your body has to rest. So by default, if you trade hours for dollars, you can either have money and no time, or you can have time and no money, but you can never have both. So where's the exit? How do you get out of this fixed time for money trade? Well, now that we understand the left side, that 95% of people are either employed or self-employed trading hours for dollars on this fixed exchange, what are these people doing? What are the other 5% of people in the world doing to make their money? And how is it different? Well, the right side is much different than the left. Here you have B-type business ownership, which is a B-type or a systems-based business that's not dependent on the amount of time that you have to put in, or you can invest money to make money. But the issue here is that it takes a lot of money invested to make a little bit of money. And here's what I mean. Let's say that you had $1.6 million in the bank at an interest rate of 1.5%. You would be able to make about 2 grand a month off of that investment. Most people don't have that, so we're not even going to talk about the investment quadrant any further. But let's get back to the B type business owner. See, a B type business is not dependent on your time, it's dependent on a system. And because it's dependent on a system, you can put the same input in and get a 10x or 100x, 1000x, or 10,000x result, which means that I'm no longer limited based on what I personally can put into the thing that I'm doing that makes my income. Think McDonald's versus a mom and pop shop. Let's say Joe's Place, for example. Now, Joe's Place may have way better tasting burgers, but if you're looking to make money with a hamburger, well, McDonald's is probably the best hamburger in the world. Here's what I mean. At Joe's Place, there's no real system. Joe's in the back and he's thinking about the cooking staff. He's thinking about the rest of the team members, payroll, scheduling, all these other things. Because there is no system, Joe is the system. What happens if Joe goes away? Well, Joe's Place gets shut down. But what about a McDonald's owner? Well, McDonald's is ran on a system. And what happens there is they purchase a McDonald's and they have the rights to a system. They plug into what's called Hamburger University, and the system produces the income, not them. And this is how you build residual income. A great example of this is I heard a gentleman speaking about a woman who owned over a dozen different McDonald's, and she had not been in a single store in over 2 decades to do anything because the system took care of the work. So, what are your options when it comes to a B type business for the 5% and a system? Well, you can build your own or you can buy your own. And before you freak out, I have nothing to sell you. But I tell you that story and give you that analogy because here with the Freedom Project, we'll teach you how to leverage an extra 5 to 10 hours a week plus a couple $100s a month to multiply that against a system that's already in place and proven to help you earn your financial freedom. Now, I know you might be thinking, you don't know my situation. I don't have any extra time. And that's exactly where my friend Jonathan and his wife Jessica were when they first got started. He was literally working 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, and she was working full time. They were living check to check, absolutely drowning in debt when they found the Freedom Project. And Jonathan literally picked up cans to be able to invest in their family's future. And just 9 months later, he replaced Jessica's income. She became a stay at home mom, and they have lived a debt free lifestyle with years of security in the bank thanks to what they learned with the Freedom Project's system. Or you might be thinking, okay, well, great, time's not my issue, but I literally have no extra income. So, I mean, take my friends Matt and Eliza as another example. When they first got introduced to the Freedom Project, they were both working at a factory and she was a salaried manager and he was literally working every single bit of overtime that he possibly could. Absolutely hating every single minute of his job. And they were over $200,000 in debt and they were literally going backwards every single month because they were so upside down on everything they owed. They used the information in our system to start 7 different businesses, make significantly more income than they ever did while they were both working jobs as employees, and now they're on track to be completely financially free within the next 18 months. Or maybe you're thinking, well, that's great. I've got time. I can invest in my own future, but I did horrible in school. I'm not sure that I'm smart enough to make anything work to actually get financially free because those type of people have to be smarter than average, don't they? Well, take my friend Wayne and his wife Raylene as the next example because they started out with literally over $300,000 in debt. Neither of them had a college education whatsoever. He was a welder and she was a tire builder. And on top of that, Wayne is dyslexic and barely graduated high school, just barely able to go from paying bills every single day, living check to check, and now they're completely out of debt. He replaced his wife's income. She's been a stay-at-home mom, and they have lived completely financially free for over a decade now. And well, at this point, you might be thinking, well, that's great. I did okay in school. I have the time. I have the money, whatever it takes to invest into my future to actually get financially free, but I literally have no experience at all. And then I would tell you about Jake and Haley's story because Jake and Haley used the information that they got access to with the system and the Freedom Project to get completely out of debt by the time they were in their mid-20s and have years worth of living expenses in the bank. Now they're focusing on developing passive income as he exits the military, and they will both be completely financially free, just staying at home with their kiddo before the age of 30. Maybe you're thinking, I've got time, I've got money. Maybe you do have experience. Maybe you did okay in school, but you don't even know where to start. Well, I would tell you about my wife and I. She did the whole go to school, get good grades, get a safe, secure job. She was Dean's List 4.0 honor roll, all that kind of stuff. I grew up homeschooled K through 12 and literally had over 24 different occupations because I was looking so hard for something that could make me more money without having a crappy schedule. And we were over $47,000 in debt when we got married. and we literally paid off all that debt within 19 months. I replaced my wife's income, became self-employed, and now work about 15 hours a week. And I'm able to spend basically every single day with my wife and kids. And we're on our way to being completely financially free, working less than ever. Now, I know after hearing those stories, you might be thinking, well, they got lucky, but literally this had nothing to do with being lucky. It is a step-by-step proven process that we all followed, and the Freedom Project can work for you as well. It's not Amazon FBA or drop shipping. It's not real estate investing. It's not one of those things where you go bug all your friends and family and they get three and they get three and they get three. It's not day trading or stock investing. It's not a coaching program that you're going to pay a bunch of money for and then there's nothing on the back end. And hopefully you can figure it out on your own. And we've got a built-in Facebook group. It's not one of those things. It's not a get rich quick scheme. And it's definitely not something that's going to work if you're lazy, but it is a proven way out of the rat race. And it's literally helped hundreds and thousands of people to exit the rat race, get completely debt-free, leave their jobs, and make full-time passive residual income working around 5 to 10 hours a week. It's an 18 to 36-month plan to quit trading hours for dollars. And everything starts with define, learn, do. Completely opposite of what we learned in school. We're going to actually define what you want and help bring clarity to your goals, connect you with a person and resources that you can learn from so that you can then go do the exact same thing they've done to accomplish whatever it is that you want. Now, here's the catch. The Freedom Project is application only. So don't apply if you're lazy, if you've got a huge list of excuses, or if you're going to waste our time. If you're not seriously looking, please don't apply. But if you are seriously looking, would it be worth it for you if all it did was get you out of debt, help you save money on literally everything you're currently buying, and also help you legally lower your taxable income because there's information in the system to do all three of those things? But what if all this did for you is make you an extra $500 or $1,000 or $2,000 per month? Would it be worth it for you? I think so. So here's what to do next if you are seriously looking. There's going to be an application form on this page. If you click the button below or next to this video, click on that, apply, go ahead, fill out the application form. Tell us why you feel like you would be a good fit, then submit that application. Someone will give you a call. Go ahead and pre-qualify you a little further to see if they feel like you would be a fit for the project, and then schedule a next steps call on the calendar. So best of luck and hope to see you on the inside.